Hello, everybody. Good morning in some areas of the planet, and welcome from our headquarters here in Ferl. Welcome to the webinar, The Future of Smart Buildings. My name is Frank Schubert. I'd like to welcome you on behalf of Beckhoff, but not only Beckhoff. We are here a very large group of partners who are presenting a very new technology combining buildings and facility services. So let's start with the webinar. And again, a warm welcome from my side and a few information, a few items about this webinar. This will be recorded so you can distribute the video. Normally within the next few days it will be online, so you can also forward this webinar recordings to colleagues or other interested parties. If you have any questions, we reserved a time slot of roughly 5 minutes per speech, per presentation for questions and answers. Please put these questions into the question window of GoToWebinar here, and I will read these questions and ask the people to answer these questions. And we had a very, very interactive session this morning in German language, so don't hesitate to ask questions and we will find the right answer. If you are interested in other webinars, of course, go to www.beckhoff.com/webinar. And if you want to have certain items covered by webinars, just drop us an email, go to webinar@beckhoff.com. So we are really looking forward to your input. So I mentioned that we are not alone with Beckhoff here today. We have a lot of partners on board, and who is with us today? The company Hailo Digital Hub will be introducing themselves later. Christoph Erbacher is joining us here. The company Danfoss is not present in this call, but I will present Danfoss and what the entire showcase was about in a few minutes. Geze, company from the Stuttgart area in Germany, Harald Hellman's joining us here. Kärcher is probably known to everybody. In this case, it's the cleaning machines, but also smart services. Mark Ziegler will lead us through this session. Company Minol Zenner Connect is a provider for LoRaWAN. They are not present here in this ground, but I will introduce them in a minute. The company Soobr will be connected from Switzerland. Kaspar Adank will give us a presentation here. Steinel is known for sensor technology. Klaus Würdemann will give us an introduction here. And Thermocon and Varema are not present themselves here, but they supported a showcase. We like to distribute and show here the first time to the public. Of course, it's not the first time, actually. We presented it this morning in German language, but it's first international audience. And this showcase is really an outlook to the future and to future collaborations between building automation and facility services. So let's introduce the other partners who cannot join us today. Company Thermocon is a provider for sensors, sensor technology, but also guys like room controllers. You see that on the wall mounted here. It's a smart room controller with BACnet MSTP, which presents a lot of data to us. The next company is Varema. They are famous for blinds and sun protection systems. So in this showcase, they provided a exterior blind with an SMI standard motor interface to control the blind from outside, integrated into the showcase. The next on the agenda is Danfoss. So here we use the hydronic balancing valve, the ABQM, as a pressure independent control valve, a digital valve actuator communicating over MSTP BACnet, and 6-way changeover valve. You see that on the left-hand side. This is used for heating and cooling ceilings. And last but not least, Minol Zenner. They are a provider for metering and billing services for some kind of consumptions like water or energy, but also they provide LoRaWAN networks. And we will learn about LoRaWAN in one presentation a little bit more from the technical side. So what was our motivation for this partnership here with all these companies, and what was the driver and the basic idea? Have you ever asked yourself the question, how many trash bins are placed beneath my desktop? I can answer this question from my perspective. I have two, one for paper, one for the rest. And we are 3 people in the same office in one room. We have 6 trash bins. Is this really necessary? How often are these emptied? In our case, every day. And they are not even half full. And so we are wasting a lot of plastics per day. And could this not be a little bit smarter? The next question is, when and how often does a meeting room require cleaning? If it's daily used, okay, it must be probably daily cleaned. But if it's not used for weeks, why do the daily cleaning? Is this necessary? Which areas of the meeting room have been occupied? Do these areas need a specific disinfection in times of Corona and COVID-19? We need to ask this question. When does the floor cleaning start? And probably if there was some liquids lost or so, it needs an exceptional cleaning without the regular cleaning services. This is something we could digitalize and which could be a little bit more smarter than it is today. How can smart sensors help connected to automation systems saving energy? We will see this in a very prominent showcase and use case also with Pirelli. We'll introduce this later. Which data and which values can we retrieve from smart room controllers and how this data can be used? We will learn a little bit about artificial intelligence in this case. And last but not least, natural ventilation. Can that help in energy savings? And how does this work? We will learn this from Geze. What are the benefits of well-balanced hydronic systems? How this helps saving energy? Which benefits can be expected from connecting the blinds to the light? This is also a very important topic for saving energy. And what's the appropriate communication backbone to bring all these things together, and about which communication are we talking? And the last item is, what, as an investor or as a owner of a building, which return on invest can I expect from that activities? How much do I need to invest and when do I get my money back? So also the cost aspect is very important here. And we will learn how this energy savings and service savings can help saving costs as well, not just energy or other items. Yeah, and last but not least here, the mission statement is actually bringing building automation and facilities services together. That's the main focus of our webinar today. And Jill from FDS, I apologize for stealing the picture from the FDS side. We will learn about FDS as an organization later on. And I'm glad to have Jill Fry here in the call, chairwoman of the FDS organization. So this was the first presentation, and it's a short introduction. I'd like to hand over to the other speakers. And in this case, I like everybody being in the call as a moderator to switch on the camera, and so that we see everybody here. So this is myself, you already saw me. And so we are very international. You see that Jill is from the USA, Kasper is from Switzerland, and the rest of us from Germany. So welcome everybody, and I'd like to hand over to Klaus Würdemann now. He is with Steinel, and he will tell us a little bit about intelligent sensors, camera-based person counters. What can we do with this information, and how does this work? So Klaus, the others, I'd like to the others to switch off their cameras, please. Okay.
So, yeah, hello. I want to say welcome to my presentation, or to our presentation. And I want to show you how is Steinel, what is a part of a smart building in this cleaning process, what we want to present to you. So the vision of Steinel, wait 1 second. The vision of Steinel is to be the census of a modern building. We can imagine that with a human. So Beckhoff is a brain who decides what is to do and which actuators should switch on. And we, as Steinel, are the senses. We touch, we smell, we hear, we taste. We have eyes, and all these information, what we get, we go to the system. And so we are a sensor provider, and we have some values what we want to give. So maybe for the temperature, the presence, how many people are in the room, the brightness, the VOC, the CO2 level, for example, the humidity. There's so many values what could help to have a better feeling and a high energy efficiency in a building. There's so many potential. For example, our HPD2. It's a person sensor who can count in 10 individual zones people. So we have a detection range of 10 meters by an opening angle by 110 10 degrees. And so there we can count the people. How it works? We have a neural net. The sensor is trained with many pictures of people in different situations, standing people, sitting people in different rooms, for example. And so this is trained. And so this model compares the picture which is actually in the room with the human model, and then he can count the people. It's not limited by counting of the people. So the power supply is via PoE, or we have KNX version. And the PoE version, the IP version, has an interface, REST API protocol. We can MQTT, or via BACnet. We can read out the data of the sensor. We have we have an integrated temperature and humidity sensor. So what kind of use cases we have, where we can use it? So we have space optimization or utilizations. For example, when you have flex desk models in your office building, then you can see, okay, how many, when the people are in home office and maybe travel around the world and have meetings. So then we can see, okay, how many desks are really needed in an office building. Or for example, how is the usage of meeting rooms, for example. Then you can use the data for the cleaning process. For example, okay, if this desk was their employee in the day, or was it completely free the whole day, then nobody needs to clean the desk, or the meeting room, the same. Then we have an additional climate control. So with the amount of the people in the room, we can activate the climate control. And of course, we can make a constant light control or presence light control. For example, we give the data via the MQTT or BACnet to the Beckhoff SPS, and then it decides and switches and control the lights, for example, the heating or cooling system. The second sensor, what I want to show you, is our true presence multi-sensor. We have different sensor values compact in one sensor. We have a presence detection, a brightness, we can measure temperature, humidity, CO2, VOC, and the air pressure. So we have different values. What we can do with this, we can make for the user of the building, we can make a very perfect climate. So our target is creation a perfect room atmosphere for the employees. So then this sensor has a presence detection modus, so real presence detection. That means also sleeping people, maybe for the hotel use case, can detect. So really, there's only small movements by measuring of the moving of the breath. Detects the people, and so we have a real presence detection by a diameter of 15 meters. We We have a 360 degrees detection angle, a maximum mounting height of 12 meters. You can use it also in high-base solutions. It's in high frequency technology. And we have a mounting style in surface and cleaning installation. Actually, the multi-sensor we have only in KNX, but in summer 2021, we have it also as an AP version, and then we can use it also with MQTT, BACnet, and our REST API. And additional, we have a Bluetooth chip integrated. So we can read out the data directly via Bluetooth. For example, when the people are in the meeting room, then they can check how's the air quality in the app. And now I want to show you a small return on invest, and how it is with the cleaning situation. So the solution for cleaning on demand. So, for example, we can I make an example with meeting rooms. So non-used meeting rooms and also desks are visible for cleaning stuff. They really can see, okay, if this desk or this meeting room was used or not. Unnecessary cleaning procedures are avoided. So based on the frequency of the usage of the room, we can say, okay, if it's necessary that the cleaning staff will go into the room and will clean the room, or is it not necessary? So this time for the cleaning stuff we can save in this value. And additional, we have the air quality values make the consummate as so the air transparent and the measures such as ventilation can be initiated. So we have really all information about the room atmosphere in the sensor. And when I have a look on the return on the vessel, the cleaning time, I ask our facility manager or our cleaning staff regarding the cleaning time, how long do you need for cleaning a whole meeting room? And she said to me, okay, yeah, approximately 10 minutes. So the cost of cleaning stuff per hour I got from the facility manager, it was 25 euros. And so we have the cost nearly of 500 euros with installation, with parametration. And then we have the saving of cleaning costs by 166 euros per year, because we have an assumption, so the meeting room was not used one time a week. How I get the value? 40 days per year. So I have had a look on the on our Flex desk system. I have seen in the measurement of the meeting rooms how many days in the last year the meeting room was not blocked or was not used. And so this is the value what I've calculated, and I have an amortization time after 3 years only with the cleaning personnel, so with the cleaning staff, cleaning process. And additional, we have an energy consumption by constant savings with the constant light control. Additional, with the heating and cooling system, we can give them a real good room atmosphere. So these are all with clever sensors. So that is our part of a smart building. And to be smart, we need sensors that the brain, so Beckhoff, can decide what is to do with this value. Yeah, that was it from my side. And now we have time for questions at this point. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Klaus. We will see how the HPD2 works in practice a little bit later in last session of today's webinar. Are there questions to Klaus? This morning we had a very large list of questions. Actually, how this works. Does it detect animals, for example, was one question from this morning. Klaus?
What I can say, one point is additional regarding privacy and IT security. So we have we have an approval by TÜV IT, the Europrice certification. I'm happy that I can say we have it now certified 1 month ago. So we have for this product a privacy and IT security approval from TÜV. So the Europrice certification. Yeah, this is from my side now.
And I tested the HPD at my house. trying to catch our dog and actually does not work for animals. So it was something. Here's a question coming in. Are the cleaning savings only in the labor cost or also taking into consideration product use? Is it just labor or also taking product use? I actually don't understand the question so well. Probably you can talk a little bit about what the actual savings is. I guess it's more or less labor cost, but
yeah. So we have one fixed price for the sensor. We have no additional fee, so that we have not a monthly fee for the sensor to provide the values. Actually, we have only one sensor. We have one cost. Okay, then the sensor is paid. And this is what I've calculated here. We have no additional fee what comes every month, for example.
Okay.
Maybe in future, but then but actually it's not. So the sensor is, you can buy it and then it's yours.
Yeah. It's a piece of hardware you just purchase once and then So the second one is, can you check also air quality on a scale of gas or hydrogen in an installation? It's probably a question of is it a gas detector? It's probably not.
No, we have only real CO2, a real CO2 sensor integrated. We have one sensor which measures additional sensor integrated, which measures the humidity and temperature, and then additional sensor for presence and an additional sensor for the VOC. So it's not in many other sensors you can read, okay, VOC and CO2, that you have a calculated value by the VOC for CO2 value, but now we have two sensors integrated in our multi-sensor. So we measure the real CO2 value and the real VOC value.
Okay.
But only this. We have no other gases what we can detect with the sensor.
Yeah. Okay. So last question came in here. What VOC stands for? Could you please explain that compared to CO2? It's a little bit different.
So VOC is Vogel. The name I must have in my mind. But it's a smelling sensor. So how can I explain it? So it works like our nose, you can imagine. So when somebody comes with a pizza in the room, then it smells, but the CO2 value is not bad. So the CO2 value will be constant, but the VOC sensor will detect it and the value will going up. So it's really smelling of particles. But also when you have a perfume, for example, it will detect the value will also increase at this point. So it smells and how is the feeling of the people. And when you have high values of VOC level at this point, then people feel not very good. It's also smell sticky and sticky in the room. Then it takes. But it real works like a nose. So when you comes in, we have with a pizza, for example. After a while, the sensor value will going down. But you have also smelling this, but like our nose. So when you comes in the room, first you see, okay, it smells very, very bad, and then after a while, it doesn't matter if it smells, because your nose, how call it, Frank, gewöhnen.
Get used to it. Getting used to it. Yeah. So meanwhile, we also get an input here. VOC stands for volatile organic compound.
That's it.
In English language. So actually today we had this in the morning. We learned what sauber, that means clean, in Swiss language means. So this afternoon we do an English learning course. So welcome to international conferences here. There's one additional question I like to raise here. Cleaning on demand is heavily affecting the business model of a building service contractor. That means to realize the savings need very flexible work schedules. Did you discuss that with the contractor? If yes, how do they see this? The flexible work schedule is actually the key point here. Maybe you can give us a little bit more insight into this. You have also recorded the occupancy in your own cantina. I know that. In just a few words, how does this work? And
with the canteen, how we have okay. So yeah, what I can see, not only the canteen, we have now our complete office building. We have all meeting rooms and all desks. We have now the sensors. So in each office we have one sensor. So we have created each zone per work desk, and also we have done the same, create areas in our canteen, also. And then what we do now with this value is that we want to show, because now everyone is in home office, like me, I stay at home in the moment, and now we come back to office. This will comes next, maybe next year. So it becomes more and more that we all go back to the office, and then we want to measure, because the people are still in home office. I think we will have a new quality of working, so maybe the people will be also in home office, and how many desks we really need. So because the people are I think so I have many customers what are use our sensors, and they make like this. So they do it like this. So they have in the offices and the meeting rooms, they look for the usage, and then they think, okay, what? Then they scale it in maybe six months. They measure how many people are in the office during this time, and then what was the maximum. And then when you see, okay, if 80% only was a maximum of the usage of the building, of the desk, then they say, okay, maybe I can use 20% of the space in the office building for other things. Maybe I can use the meeting rooms for I make from the meeting rooms, I do their work desks, for example, when I don't need the meeting rooms, or when I need so many flex desks, I will make this maybe, for example, a show area for my products. So how is the usage of the meeting room or of the office building? That we measure with our sensors. The same in our canteen. We have a look. Okay, how many seats are really needed? And now we have one area of these of the canteen. We have now as a chill area, because the space is not needed for the canteen. And now we have a chill area with PlayStation and with a kicker in our canteen.
So I need to visit you within the next few weeks. Do you have the PlayStation 5 already? Just kidding.
No, I'm not sure which one.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Klaus. I think this was a really interesting entry point to this entire discussion. We will come back to flexibility and what will change probably after Corona or the next upcoming times. I'd like to hand over. Thank you very much again. You need to leave a little bit earlier, so have a nice weekend, Klaus. Thanks for joining us here.
Thank you.
And I'd like to hand over to Daniel Keinert and Harald Hellmann now from the company Geze. They will tell us about facades, windows, doors, how they can impact building automation, energy efficiency, and how this works together with facility services.
Okay, thanks, Frank. So I hope you can see my screen. Our topic, the future of smart buildings with doors and windows. And we have a small agenda for our presentation. I would like to start with a short introduction of the Geze company, then the trade, door and window, the integration of this trade, at the end some application examples, and the conclusion. Harald Hellmann and my side will present this this year. And Harald joined Geze since July this year. And he has a big experience in the building automation area, more than 30 years. And I'm since April last year by the Geze company, and I'm also coming from the building automation area. It's for Geze a new area, and Geze is coming from door and window systems. We produced products for these systems, system solutions and services. We have the headquarter in Germany by Leonberg. It's near Stuttgart. And we have more than 155 years experience. And we have more than 3,200 people working for us. We are not only produced products, we make also customized services. And this we make for the solutions, what you are already known, each areas, for example, the healthcare area or the building, the office areas, and so on. We have also some pre-sales and after-sales activities. For example, pre-sales activities are the BIM planning, and the after-sales are to maintain the door system or the window systems. From this area, what I show here, automatic door systems, different systems, a window system, glass walls, or security and safety systems round about doors and windows. These are products who come from Geze. And this was the base of Geze. And now we are going also in the market of smart building, of building automation market. And as we started by Geze, we have a mission, and the mission was, or is, we would like to have cooperation with building automation manufacturers, like we do it today here in this presentation with the other partners. And this, we go on the standard BACnet. We give our information via BACnet to the other world. Then we have also some other tasks in the internationalization process. It's more from the business development part. We make with our team business solutions projects. This is a team who can realize the project at the end of the day. And we go for starting projects. It's called more in the pilot phase. In cooperation, we makes together. Then we make also some product management activities. That means our know-how, we bring it in the company for the building automation part, and the next generation of our products for the building automation, there's also input from our side. Yeah, what are the goals? The vision of the is what we do. At the moment, if you are planning a building management system, it's totally normal to integrate a ventilation system. But a door or window, mostly not. But this will be the future, that the connection of the door and window trade is normal as, for example, the ventilation system. And we would like to provide as much as possible data, or also what data who makes sense from the doors and window system. And we make it together with the other partners. Yeah, what could be realized when you have more as, for example, only read contact? I will show you some examples. Here you can see a window with a motor, and this is normal. I think everybody of you knows open and close, and the feedback of the end position, you get this information. But we would like to have more. More, for example, to drive to the exact position. That means if you make natural ventilation, for example, then it makes sense to not open the door completely. You will open the door only, for example, 60%. And or in safety stuff, you would like to lock the window, that you cannot open it from outside. And you have also then more feedbacks. Yeah, what you can do with the windows if you have more data, comfort, building security, natural ventilation, draft-free ventilation, night cooling, smoke extraction, and so on and so on. Many stuff. When you go now to the door, to the entrance, open, close, feedback, clear. But if you see demands on the door, it's many demands. For example, have you an access control inside or outside? Must be the door barrier-free? Must be the door a fire door? Must be the door smoke protection? Or must be the door to integrate in a building management system? It's many options what you can make with doors. I have here some examples of what you can do. Easy visualization of energy access or a daytime monitoring of doors. You can integrate door, window, and safety technology. For example, that you make some alarm or error messages for the building management system, and round about the building management system, you get more information and can go outside with these infos. Yeah, who looks like this? I have here an example. If you have the door connected via BACnet, I have one example. It's called, you have one door, and in the door we have the multi-state value, alarm message, and the second example, you have a second door, and the door is locked or not. It's a binary input. Standard BACnet. What we have from Geze, our main part is it's called Geze Cockpit. It's a BACnet building controller, and the idea behind this is to get all information from door, security, window technology on one platform, makes different protocol then to BACnet, IP, and then you can give the information directly to a building management system, to a building automation controller, or to a facility management system. Yeah, which use cases you can do with such system? You can make night cooling, energy saving. For example, in the winter time, you open the door not completely, only a little bit. In the summertime, the door is completely open. You monitoring automatic door systems, natural ventilation, window states, override the states, and so on and so on. Many use cases are possible. Now I will show some example of it. A very actual example is the natural ventilation. In the actual time with Corona, for example, in schools, the teacher must open the windows in Germany every 20 minutes. And the teacher goes to the window, opens the window, closed, and cannot teach in this time the children. You have every time interrupts. And if you make a natural ventilation system with automatic windows, they the teacher can teach completely in the session. And the investment of such a system, it's less as, for example, you make a big ventilation system, a manual big ventilation system. Then I have another example, door system, reliable closing. That means what I say already before, you have, depending on temperatures or rain or winds, to open the door or close the door. One other example for doors, it's very important, the door cycles. And for example, if you have doors inside a building and you switched from automatic to from the automatic mode. Automatic mode means the people comes to the door and the door opens, and after the people is going, the door closed. You switch from the automatic mode to the completely open mode. That means complete time the door is open. You have less door cycles, and in this time you have also less power consumptions. You need less power. It's good for energy savings. Yeah, we are today also here for demand cleaning, and I have here the example what is with the trade door and windows in the demand cleaning. The doors, you can say, okay, if the somebody is inside in or coming in the room, you can make with the room access, okay, it's now cleaned or not. And in the window system, I said it already, the natural ventilation is the biggest part, fresh air. Yeah, the benefits, I said it before already, you can make many stuff also for the demand cleanings with doors and windows. And now I will give my words to Harald, and Harald makes the rest of the presentations. Thanks.
Okay, the closing more or less. Okay, I hope everybody can hear me. So what's Geze's contribution to building automation? So first of all, we have to mention there the core benefit, the 5 topics or the 5 subjects, main subjects of building automation. First of all, there is everybody knows the energy efficiency, the efficient operation and monitoring of the system, and for sure the comfort, which is more and more increasing in nowadays. The operational safety was important, will be more important, and the accessibility. And this is what we are focused on and what we are developing in the future. What situations we facilitate? Okay, we are jumping over already to conclusions. I would like to say or to mention that if a modern or future-oriented smart building will be created in the future with a closed system or a trade of door and window, and in the future it's considered in the BA. Sorry, it's GA, but it's BA, building automation, and usually this is connected by a standard IP communications. Everybody knows BACnet, which is more and more common and increasing market share, and it's penetrating the market. And we have a lot of possibilities with IP communication. We have more transparency from cloud to edge. We can increase the comfort, for sure. Security in the future, we will have the BACnet sec, and the one subject which is in the European community more and more increasing is the energy saving and the energy efficiency. So from our point of view, we as Geze, we will help you to realize your smart building with us. Please invite us and we will consult you how we can work together. Thanks.
Thanks. Now it's question time.
Yeah, exactly. So it's me back again. Thank you very much, Daniel and Harald, for this interesting presentation here. We have two statements and one question here. The statement is actually more or less going into the same direction. Very interesting that doors can be integrated. Architects should be a target group here, as well as they are usually deciding about the doors and windows long before actually the other industry parts come in. And the second is about planners and project designers. That should be the second planning or group involved into this planning process. And they are probably not even aware that natural ventilation can help saving energy, or even specify smaller ventilators, or even no ventilators at all. You covered this in your presentation. So I think this is a good statement here that two target groups needs to be involved in a very, very early stage of the process. The next question is, good morning, I have a question in a prediction maintenance vision. Could your door send to BMS some feedback about number of open, close cycles, problems with the motor, driver, total operating hours, etc.? Could you answer this question, please?
Yeah, we are working on the subject, and we will have more and more connectivities within our field devices, and we are offering already some, let me say, some base data, but in the future we'll be open for more data, and we will have a direct connectivity from, let me say, from the field device up to the cloud, and that's important, and especially for predictive maintenance and for maintenance and facility management companies and for facility management software. We will be more open, and we will interfacing with them.
Yeah. So a window or a door is another source of data, of information for building management, and maybe, as Daniel said in his presentation, for facility services. So the last question was, can you also control technical rooms with doors?
For sure. The question is what type of technical rooms you mean?
I
for example,
it's a technical
data
equipment
center?
room, yeah, or
data centers. Or maybe also if we are looking towards hospital in our COVID days, we are more and more getting requests from university hospitals, and to make them more and more secure, and to collect data for data, and it's ongoing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's another last question now. The question was when we talked about the data of a door or window, directly from the sensor up to the cloud. How do you see that from the Geze perspective? Does the door directly talk to the cloud, or is there some kind of edge device involved? How do you see that architecture?
At the moment, we are bridging. Let me say, I think this you can see in the presentation from Daniel. We are bridging with a device, but we are ongoing with our future developments towards edge devices, which can direct transfer data into the cloud. First of all, in the Geze cloud.
Okay, yeah, so you're also setting up your own cloud system. Yeah, thank you very much, Daniel and Harald. I think there was an interesting aspect. We learned that also window information or door information can be used for energy efficiency. We can probably lower the ventilation size, the dimensions of the ventilator. Even probably we don't need a ventilator at all. So thanks for your contribution here. So next on the agenda is a technical presentation from my side. I probably need to introduce myself. I'm Frank Schubert. I'm with Beckhoff Automation since a little bit more than 5.5 years now. And I will talk a little bit about technology and return on invest. So we cover both. Since you know Beckhoff being a technology company and a technology driver, we also need to talk about technology, but also on the cost aspect. So first of all, this is something we would see in the afternoon. This is a presentation covering what we set up in this showcase I was already talking about, and what we see, what we will see here live as the last presentation of today. So we connected all these technologies. For example, we connected CAN bus devices, we connect DALI devices. We will learn about LoRaWAN now. I will introduce one device here, put it to the camera. Hope you can see that. It's a gateway which has a Wi-Fi antenna here, and on the other side it's an IP connection going to the cloud and to cloud providers. So this LoRa Wi-Fi connection will be part of this presentation. We use technologies like earbus, KNX. Daniel mentioned the window actuators. We connect to FDS, Facility Data Standards. We will learn a lot about FDS later today. We even connected to an Outlook calendar using Outlook 365 to retrieve information for the upcoming meetings from the Outlook calendar. We request weather information from Open Weather Map or other services. And of course, last but not least, not to forget, BACnet on 2 layers here, BACnet on IP as the main backbone, and MSTP for connecting field devices through serial networks. In this case, it was Thermocon and Danfoss devices we connected. This is the overview how the technology works. I have it on my desktop here right beside me. So we use the C6015 as the brain of this building and this connectivity, and we connected everything through our terminals. And here in this case we use an EK1100 and a BK1250 to convert to K-bus at the very end. And the communication is DALI, actually DALI 2, and then earbus, KNX, and SMI. SMI is for the blinds for the standard motor interface. So now, what's LoRaWAN? Probably everybody of you have already heard about this term. It's a new kind of communication, which is a Wi-Fi based communication. And let me explain a few words. I even need to say this is not a Beckhoff product yet. We connected to LoRaWAN through the use of a gateway that made it easier for us to connect. And what I expect for the next upcoming times is more public LoRaWAN networks through providers. We will see that in the next slides. So what is LoRaWAN actually? It's a long-range system. Long-range means it's starting from roughly 1.3 miles within the area of cities, and it could be used up to 25 miles in the countryside where you have a free field and where no buildings disturb the transport of the waves. In the US, it's 915 megahertz. In Europe, we use 868 megahertz for the communication for the freely usable frequency bands. And it's even possible to penetrate into basement rooms or through manhole covers, which makes it very attractive, for example, for metering service. You don't necessarily need to enter the house. You can measure everything from outside just by using it in close to the building. LoRaWAN has a low power consumption, so battery options and operation is possible with that. We will hear about the smart waste bins from Hailo in a few moments. So Christoph will talk about the battery lifetime, which is expected for the waste bins. So the most important point, and this is something Daniel already covered, is IT security. And we have heard about the IT security from Steinel, and that it was proved. So this is also assured with LoRaWAN, and the transfer rate are not that high. It's up to 50 kbits, but this is enough for the long range communication, and the data, the amount of data which is provided is not that much. So how does the architecture look like? And this is the architecture we use in our showcase here. We have a smart waste bin to the left-hand side. It's an 868 megahertz version. It's a European product here. And this is connected to a gateway for LoRaWAN. I already showed this into the camera. And then this goes to a private LoRa provider in the cloud. And I was asked this morning, why is it a private LoRaWAN provider in the cloud? Must it be a cloud provider? Yes. The communication is secured by a patented communication system and protocol. So what the LoRaWAN provider in the cloud does, it is bringing the same data which is received from this gateway to a cloud provider we know as the AWS, Amazon Web Services, or Azure or other providers. And this is end-to-end encryption from the device back to the application which uses this data. In our case, we receive everything through FDS, so as a REST service from AWS, from the Hailo cloud. And we showed a dashboard here, which looks quite the same as the Hailo dashboard. They provided us the SVG, the scalable vector graphics, so it was easy for us to create the dashboard here. We will see this live and working in my next presentation this afternoon. I will come back to this. So the difference to public network is simply there's no gateway involved, or actually the public cloud provider provides these gateways. And this is what many cities currently do. They set up a system and a widespread area which is covered by LoRaWAN gateways. And the simple thing is you just need to connect your LoRaWAN device to this gateway. Probably have to pay a little bit service fee, but then this could be run through and operated through public LoRaWAN networks. And for us, it's just quite the same. We receive everything through the REST interface through HTTP, HTTPS with our new TF6720, 60 supplement. And of course, we can use the TCHMI to visualize everything. So we were talking about BACnet as a main infrastructure, as the backbone of this building. We used both IP and MSTP. The more important point is what kind of data can we expect from connecting everything through BACnet. And you see a selection of data here in the second chapter: room temperature, room humidity, true presence, CO2 values, VOC values, light intensity, and all these things. I don't read everything here, but the major point is, and this makes it really new, is the occupancy information from the HBD sensors Steinel introduced. So we can really get the information how many people were in the room, and last but not least here, we also are able to detect which person occupied which area of the room by creating detection zones. We will see that in a live demo later on. And what we additionally involved into this showcase here was Outlook calendar invitations, waste bin filling levels. So we probably will not send the cleaning personnel to a waste bin which is simply not used or just filled up with 10%. So this is also optimizing the entire process. And last but not least, we will come to Kärcher in a few moments. Floor cleaning machines may also provide the information, but they also may get information from this backbone system by providing outside air conditions or rain conditions or weather information, more generally speaking. So we can provide this information by connecting to other services. So actually the C6015 is like a small bazaar or a broker which provides and deals with information, receiving and forwarding it back to others. So now one item is very critical at the moment with BACnet. BACnet is an open protocol. I know BACnet since almost 23 years now, and I started to love it, but it's not secure. BACnet at the moment is not secure. It's open and everybody can connect to it. So the next approach in BACnet, and this is also some kind of future outlook I like to give you here, is connecting through Secure Connect, the new standard for securing BACnet traffic. This approach was released in the norm, in the standard last November to be precise, and first implementations have already reached the market, are already available. but not that many. So at the moment with Beckhoff, we wait, or we observe the market here. We play, of course, already with Secure Connect, but it's not yet a product. But as soon as Secure Connect will become more widespread over the market, we will definitely implement it. But it's too early at the moment, but I expect a breakthrough, let's say within the next 1 or 2 years, maybe. What does BACnet Secure Connect do? It makes BACnet IT friendly, or the guys in the US say, less scary to IT departments. So we don't scare these guys anymore. They hopefully start loving building automation in the next time. It makes BACnet secure, of course. It requires TLS 1.3. That's the latest version of the transmission layer security, transport layer security, sorry, TLS. And last but not least, it can be routed. So you can connect BACnet Secure Connect to existing BACnet, let's call it BACnet legacy installations, open BACnet as we know it from today. So it can be a combination, so you don't need to throw away your old equipment. You can integrate it and migrate it to a secure environment. How does this work? We see the layer model is ISO-OSI layer. And the big thing which changes is the green box here called BACnet SC. It's a small micro protocol connecting to everything we know from BACnet as of today. So nothing changes in the application layer. You still have your objects, the properties, and the services to access these items. But down it implements WebSocket communication actually through HTTP, and then it's switched to WSS schema using WebSocket communication and encrypted by TLS 1.3. And it can be simply run on every media and on every communication data link layer, which supports IP or IP version 6. And that makes it more friendly to IT department. It uses TCP instead of UDP as BACnet does today. So the technology or the architecture of a typical Secure Connect network will be the primary hub, which is the central point for authentication and for communication. So regular nodes subscribe to this primary hub, and then they get authenticated. And if they are authenticated, they are able to talk to others through the primary hub. Of course, if the primary hub fails, the entire network would stand still. That's probably not the best case. So a failover hub can solve this solution. It's a kind of redundancy. The failover hub will take place in case the primary hub is not available anymore. And so all the nodes can subscribe to the failover hub in this case, and of course back to the primary in case it comes back. And the third thing of communication is an optional direct connection. So once authenticated, the primary hub can allow the nodes to directly communicate and exchange information without the need to run it through the primary hub anymore. And one item in the architecture, and this is the last slide of this technical item, is how to connect securely through the internet. The internet is known to be a non-secure media. We can use the primary hub and the failover hub as a central point to connect to in the internet in an unsecure environment. And it goes through the firewall, through the facility installation, down to probably a BACnet SC to BACnet IP or BACnet MSDP device known to be a BACnet router. So you can connect to the existing facility or to nodes supporting BACnet Secure Connect. This was a very, very technical presentation, and I hope you survived that. You know that with Beckhoff, we always talk about technology, but in this webinar, we also want to talk about return on invest. How can we lower the operating cost? And here is a good example, and you find the video on our Vimeo channel. So have a look at this video. It's really great. I was participating when we created and when we recorded this video. So probably everybody of you knows the company Pirelli. Sometimes they produce calendars, but sometimes they also produce tires, very successful tires, also in the World Championship of race cars, etc. And they automated a roughly 100,000 square feet material stock, which is normally occupied by forklifters. So the storage room dimensions, and the situation was that this was used 24/7 days, but only for temporary purposes the forklifter entered this facility. So the power consumption 24 hours, 7 days a week was 20 kilowatts. And of course the luminance with old fluorescent lamps was not enough anymore. And so what they did was actually they started replacing the old T8 fluorescent lamps, changed it against LEDs. That lowered the cost by approximately 50%, not really, but roughly 50%. But then we, together with a system integrator, we thought, okay, how can we lower this a lot more? And we put automation in. So there's a Beckhoff controller connected to all the sensors. And now when the forklifter enters the facility, all available areas are illuminated. And if he decides to go, let's say, the right path, the middle and the left path will be shut down again. So this saves a lot of energy, and it comes down to 1.5 kilowatts only. Believe me, we have calculated this 5 times to believe that increasing this huge number of savings here. It's 92.3%. This was really amazing. We never thought about that impact because LEDs are known to be very efficient already, but this makes a huge difference. Yeah, and this comes down to a 5 years return on invest with a total investment of roughly 120,000 euros, or what is it in US dollars, probably 150,000 US dollars. So that's not that much. And also this has some kind of side impact. So it's not just lower energy cost, but also the workers are more satisfied. They never operate in any dark zone. They never drive into a dark area. They're always enlightened all the time. And of course, it's very flexible. So if the logistics center, this stock area changes somehow, it's flexible programming using a Beckhoff CX9020, actually only with a touch panel monitor. So this was technical and of course a commercial presentation. Do you have any questions? I need to look to the watch. We are right on time. So there seems to be no questions. We will see this showcase later on, as I promised. And now I'd like to hand over to Mark Ziegler from the company Kärcher. And Mark will introduce the digitalization of facility services. So Kärcher is probably known for this hand washers and things like that, but there's a lot more behind that. Mark.
Thank you, Frank. Also, welcome from my side. I'm Mark Ziegler. I'm product manager at Kärcher for digital products, and I'm happy to introduce you to future smart buildings with Kärcher today. Let's have a quick view on the agenda for today. At first, I want to introduce you to the company Kärcher itself. Then we'll head over to asset management with our product Kärcher Fleet. Point 3 is the people and process management we provide our customers. And point 4 is an outlook, the future of cleaning and how cleaning will be managed in the future. Kärcher was founded in 1935 by Alfred Kärcher and is still a family-owned business today. Alfred Kärcher was also the one who invented the high-pressure washer, as maybe many of you know. And after Alfred Kärcher passed away, Irene Kärcher overtook the company, and she was a dynamic entrepreneur who focused on cleaning. She started focusing completely on cleaning, and because of her work, we are the company we are today. Then a few numbers. We had a sales volume in 2019 of almost 2.6 billion euros, and we will also set a new record in 2020, more than 2.6 billion euros sales volume. We are very proud on that. Even in the COVID-19 year, to set a new record. We have a 65% growth since 2010, 85% foreign sales, almost 13,500 employees in 127 companies in 72 countries. But most importantly, I'd like to show you that Kärcher is evolving from a machine manufacturer to a full solution provider, covering the customer's entire business. We recognize that it's important to not only focus on our machines, on our cleaning hardware and our service, we also need to focus on the people, process, of course, the assets, the service, and we have the relevant working capital for that. After making Sonic Services as a 100% subsidiary and a participation at Sun Compute, we are also able to provide the perfect software for your needs. But let's start with the asset management and Kärcher fleet. But before, some facts. The typical cleaning cost structure, as you can see on the pie chart on the left side, is between 75 and 85% of the cleaning cost is personal expenses. That means that innovation should contribute to decrease personal expenses and make work easier for people. We think we need to create additional value and enable efficient processes to be able to reduce those personal expenses. But now we'll start with Kärcher Fleet. Kärcher Fleet is a web-based fleet management system for cleaning machines. What does Kärcher Fleet do? We have telematic units inside our machines which allows us to make different data points transparent, such as the working time or the operation hours of the machine, the location, or the general status of the machine, for example, the machine health or the battery status, and others. And with that information, we are able to provide remote machine monitoring for our customers. They are able to have analysis and reporting on their machine fleet. They are able to set notifications and alarms for their machine fleets. And we are able to provide faster service because we are able to see the data which is relevant for our service. And of course, much more. And what we would like to prevent with our system is the following fact: machines are used about 30% under plan on average. That's quite a lot. And with the transparency of fleet, you are able to use the machines as they are planned. And with that, you can increase your quality of cleaning in the different objects. Additionally, you can save labor and machine costs with Kärcher Fleet. You can save up to 10% of labor costs by replacing machines that are too small for their task. You can see it on the picture on the left-hand side. This machine is used quite a lot for that size of the machine per day. And where we want to go with that machine is that it is used that the machine has the usage as recommended. And what we can do now is to replace the machine with a bigger machine to make the cleaning in that object more efficiently. And also the other way around, you can save up to 7% of fleet costs by replacing machines that are too big for their task. If machines are only used, like in the picture here, only 20 minutes per day, that's not enough, that's not efficient, so you can replace it with a smaller machine, which is much more efficient for the customer and in general for the fleet, because you can use the bigger machine in other objects where it's more needed. Now we'll head over to people and process management. We'll start with Sun Compute. What is Sun Compute? Sun Compute is an IoT and AI company which digitizes the cleaning management. How that works, I will tell you in the next page, but firstly, the benefits of Sun. We can increase the labor efficiency by 10 to 30%, reduce restroom consumables by 10 to 25% due to real-time overview on the consumption and the fill levels of different dispensers like soap dispensers, disinfection dispensers, towel dispensers, or toilet paper dispensers, and have an optimal replacement time of that. Therefore, you can increase the cleaning quality, the work efficiency of the cleaning staff, and the customer satisfaction gets increased because there's a constant availability of supplies. No empty soap, no empty towel, no empty toilet paper. And via our AI, you will have a long-term optimization of the material consumption, and especially in times of COVID-19, you have a proof of cleaning. How does Sun work? The first step is always to create data. We have our own sensors, for example, as I said, towel dispenser, all kinds of dispenser. We also have sensors for doors, but we are also happy to take data from third parties. As you heard before, we are happy to take data from Steinel, presence data. Was the room used or was the room not used today? If it wasn't used, there's no need to clean. And of course, for example, smart waste. You will hear from Hailo about their smart bins. That's all information we'd like to have. And this information goes to the Sun Cloud. And then we're at step number 2 to curate data. Our cloud artificial intelligence aggregates and analyzes the data and generates actionable recommendations and insights. And then the third and last step is to circulate data. With the preceded data, we are able to send just-in-time notifications about cleaning, maintenance, and servicing needs on the phones, tablets, or through existing work order or ticketing systems of the cleaning staff. So we are able to not only have our own front end, we implement into your front end if that is needed and if you want it. And maybe just a quick example how that could look like. After having all those data, the cleaning staff exactly knows where she has to clean, when she has to clean, and what she has to clean, or what she has to refill. She doesn't have to take a look at every different dispenser in the whole building because we have the data, and then we know that the towel dispenser in room number 25 is empty and she has to fill up this specific towel dispenser. And in the end, she saves time by just replacing what needs to be replaced. And a great addition to the Sun system is SQ1. SQ1 is an operations and fulfillment software by Sonic Services. Also, Sonic Services is a 100% subsidiary of Kärcher, sitting in Berlin. And SQ1 covers the whole process of cleaning, not only the operational process of the cleaning itself. It starts from offering and ends with invoicing and has everything covered in between. So in the end, it provides simplified processes via an intuitive and easy to use workflow management. So you are able to increase the workforce utilization by 10%. You can save 20% of the administration and IT costs. And what's also in the cleaning sector, a very important thing, you enable 100% talent by multilingualism and translations, that's the easier word, to overcome the language and learning barrier. All the roles of the whole cleaning process are covered. There are apps for the field service, for service managers, for the quality assurance, and of course, for the administration. And the most important thing, the SQ1 also can implement and can be connected to the existing infrastructure, even to ERP systems. And now the future of cleaning, or what is already possible today, and how will the cleaning be managed in the future? Well, the most important statement within that is that sharing data guarantees the most flexibility for you as a customer. And that's why we are part of the FDS consortium. You will hear some more about FDS, I think, within the next presentation. And FDS, or the FDS interface, allows us to share data towards others and receive data from others easily. So you have the maximum flexibility, and it is easy to use for you as a customer, because you can use combined data from various systems and from various providers. What are we doing within that process? We are doing the data processing via artificial intelligence. So the user only has to use one front end if he wants, even if the data comes from different sources. And in the end, that creates a holistic system which creates smart rooms and smart buildings. And this is how Kärcher fits in such a smart building. We fit into the relevant IT system landscape of the customer, starting, as I said before, from the upstream processes in the ERP system, the contract management and the base data, going on to the operational processes like the real cleaning, for example, time recording of the cleaning, mission planning of cleaning, but also the quality assurance, employee management, information management, communication between all those different participants, and then the downstream process, the ERP and IT system, finance, the invoicing, payment, and payroll. And for all those different parts of the process, we have our solutions. And in the end, you have one great front end where you can improve your cleaning quality, reduce your cleaning costs, and hopefully be happy with our solution. Thanks for your attention, and I'm happy to hear some questions.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Are there any questions? I cannot see any in the moment in the chat.
All right.
So yeah, I think if there are no questions, probably your product is already known. Yeah, thank you again, Mark. I think also your input played a major role in this entire showcase. Actually, you were just second. So we first implemented Hailo with their smart bins, but since you are using the same technology through FDS, we implemented your B40 cleaning machine very easily within just a few hours. There's a question coming in. Can this be used for water management cleaning systems? I'm not an expert in this, so probably you can answer this question. Water management cleaning systems.
I'm not sure what water management cleaning system means. Is that specific for machines, or is that more process question? I'm
That's
not
a
sure
good question. Maybe, Mr. Devish, you can precise the question a little bit more. Actually, I'm also not an expert in this. Cleaning hydrogen systems. Probably
okay, so
really
I guess it's about the Kärcher fleet system. Of course, we have to check if our telematic unit fits into your system. That's up to the system. I can't tell you that up front, but I'm quite confident that there is the possibility to have a standalone solution for also other kinds of machines.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. So again, Mark, thank you very much. And also again, thank you for your support in getting this showcase up and running. We will see this later, as I said. So next on the agenda is Christoph Erbach from Hailo Digital Hub. And as you introduced, this will also connect to an FDS introduction by Jill. First of all, Christoph, welcome. And Christoph will give us an update on smart waste and how this fits into the future world of connecting building automation and facility services.
Yeah, thanks, Frank, for introducing us. And as Hailo, yeah, a warm welcome from my side as well. So you heard a lot about integration of building automations and services that happen within the building. So what I like to talk about, and has been introduced a couple of times already, is demand-based waste disposal. And that is obviously happening in smart buildings because otherwise it couldn't happen. And yeah, I will just briefly start off. With an introduction. So the question, do you know the cost of waste? And this might seem to be an odd question, but if you were to know the answer, I think you would yeah, try to find out more about it, because waste is actually a lot more expensive than you may think, and it obviously costs are different types of cost. And so I'd just like to give you a quick overview of what's going on with Hailo. So some facts about facility management and cleaning. I'd like to just give you an overview of what smart building and building processes can look like, how it works, and how you can save money, and what the return on invest could look like. So you have waste, and waste is happening. And it may not come as a surprise to you, and Frank introduced it already in the beginning and mentioned that he has been at his desk, actually 2, and then there's 3 people in one room. So a natural consequence is that bins are not filling up, and almost every bin has a plastic bag inside. So you need to put out waste in order to collect waste, which is already a fact that is kind of disturbing, but that's the way it has to be at the moment, or it is at least. So what we see is that a lot of the room you have in one waste bin is actually not used, because you have a fixed schedule for cleaning, and this is how it's done. So, and this is actually real data. Obviously this changes. Some bins are filled up almost all to the top, and some are not used at all. So on average, you don't actually know how much of your waste is actually been used, where it is generated, and how much of it is actually generated. And so if you have only 25% of your waste bin volume used, and this is actually real data, it amounts up to quite a large amount of plastic. So if we take this bag, which is 40 grams, and this is not a heavy bag, so there's actually heavier ones out there, but this is real data, and it easily amounts to, if you go by 100, and 100 bins is not a large office building, so many buildings house a couple hundred people, so you can add up the numbers. So 4 tons already, if you multiply this, 4 kilos, sorry. And so you do the emptying on a routine, right? So many places it's 5 times a week. Here we took 4 times a week. This is already 16 kilos, and this amounts up to 832 kilos in a year. And as I mentioned, much of this is wasted. So you create waste to collect waste. And so 624 kilos, that's 10 humans, 8 humans in weight, just plastic to create plastic. So waste to create waste. And this is already in itself shocking, I find. And so this is not apparent. So this we found out through data that we collected through our smart waste solutions. And as shocking as this is, you obviously have to look at the cost side, and building costs and operation costs is what in the end needs to show up in your balance sheets, and you can do the math on that. So it takes around 2 minutes to clean a bin, to go there, to take out the bag, to put in a new one. And 2 minutes is obviously an average value. That might be more, little less, but we took it from a conservative side here. So you amount this up on the same ratio, 100 bins amount to 200 minutes. For one emptying, you do it 4 times a week, which is the schedule that you arrange with your contractor. And then this amounts up to 693 hours. And if you take the 70% value in this case, which is a good average, this could be different, but this is a good average that we measured. This already amounts up to 520 hours of wasted time. And as you know, time is money. I don't need to explain that to you, that you can do the math on your own situation. But this is a number, and this is information that was not available up to now. We do have this now. We do have the information, and we can do something about it. And so what we figured out, and that's what we looked at. So we have waste, and Hailo is a company that has been around for more than 70 years. So we're a German family-owned business, pretty much centered in Germany, I could say. And we have been in the business of producing waste bins for quite a long time. But those are just standalone bins. And now we have the options to digitize them, but it's not just the sensors that we provide, but it's actually the data and the value that we can create out of the data. And as mentioned, smart waste is a process, but as for now, you have cleaning, and waste is just one task of many tasks. So process. So cleaning is part of waste is part of cleaning, and cleaning in itself takes part in the whole process of running a facility management or having a facility. So you need to manage your facility, and you have different systems in place. So computer-aided facility management. Now there's the options of facility data standard, which I explained further. And this takes place, and Kärcher mentioned that already, in the whole surroundings of buildings. So you need to run a building, but there is operations within that building. So a tenant, a company that is in the building, they just need to focus on their main task. They don't want to focus on how the building works. It just needs to support their own core business. But obviously, billing needs to take place, documentation you need to control, so have your cost out on the table to actually know what is happening. You have to schedule your companies. Maybe you have a contractor, and probably you have cleaning out placed to some contractor, but still, do you know the price? Do you know the value? Do you know the cost and the efficiency ratio? So is it actually the right amount of money that you have to pay, or that you're paying, compared to what could be paid or what could be done? So what we do is that we have waste bins, different types, and up to recycling stations, so where you can actually recycle. In Germany, this is coming up more and more as a regulatory thing. So 4 categories, depending on your situations, might be only 2. But anyhow, we can go into that process and connect devices. That is only a first step. So we digitize an analog process, and we can create data that we can use in all types of ways. But what we do here, and this is what this whole thing is about, we connect the data and don't just keep them to ourselves, but we take data from other sources as well as needed. So for instance, we can take the sensor data from Steinel and combine those values. So we have our own usage, so we can tell how many times the bin has been used, for example. But if we know a room has been used that many times, we can connect those data and do predictions that are even better and more precise. So this means that we can initiate all kinds of tasks. And this is the step of automation that you in the end want. You don't want to orchestrate more complex systems, and now the world is getting more and more digitized, but also more and more complex. And this is a really important part that we focus on, that we don't want to make the world more complicated, but we want to take the stress out of the complexity. And as this is all coming up, so cleaning on demand is a thing that will be coming up for obvious reasons, and we can automate this in a way that we don't need to have a human making a plan, but we can actually, using our artificial intelligence, our algorithms, that can tell you exactly, or tell a system when a bin needs to be emptied. And not just stopping there, you can record, has the emptying actually been done as scheduled? So you have a list of what has been done compared to what was ordered. You can do the billing later on. So if you have an ERP system, you can initiate a task or request automatically. So those are all possibilities that we can realize today. And some of them have been already shown together with Beckhoff, for example, or other companies that are presented today. So in the end, it's all about saving costs and being more sustainable. This is probably, yeah, a quite important part, but oftentimes even sustainability is only as good if you can save money out in the end. So if you don't have a business case, only going for sustainability is not enough. But in this case, we surely do have a business case. So how do we do it? We have our bins. So on the left side, you can see like an illustration of a bin. And as mentioned from Frank beforehand, we use a protocol, LoRa. So we have Wi-Fi that we can transmit the data to. And this gateway that we send it to can be anywhere. So it can be public provider. We can, if there's nothing set up in the area, we can provide that as well. But it doesn't have to be a gateway just for our solution. So this is definitely a shared infrastructure for many IoT devices, for example. We send the data out to our cloud, and this is where we do the calculations, because the raw data in itself is kind of uninteresting. You can see the fill level, for example, but I mean, having a couple of hundreds of bins at your desktop is quite interesting to see, but it doesn't really do the job in daily business. So you need to have more intelligence, and that is what we provide. And we can provide it to anyone. In this case, we have Soobr coming up. So if you like to do cleaning with Soobr, or you have Kärcher in place, or you have Beckhoff in place, this is where we can provide the data, and also to several channels or through several channels simultaneously. And the API that we use is the API that is standardized. And this is the good thing, and this is what we try to bring across, that it is not just one single solution that you can implement and that is available, but that there is one solution that you implement, and then there's many more companies and solutions that you can integrate, but on the same standardization, on the same interface, and that lowers the threshold. So it makes it a lot easier and quicker to integrate more systems. And if you see you have your building and have already Beckhoff implemented and like to do smart waste, that is not complicated. And Frank already told you that we have this in place already a couple of months. And yeah, this is good news to anyone that needs to lower complexity. And this is also more cost efficient for the process of setting it up. Yeah, so how do you do and how do you run and clean a building today? So this is just a basic week, and any building is different. But in this place, this is how a typical usage of a building can look like. So how do you clean? And if you don't have more information, you try to figure out a plan that you communicate to your staff or the cleaning personnel, or that your contractor does it. Anyhow, it's flat or it's static, because you don't have much choice how to do it differently. And what about COVID? It changed the whole plan, or after COVID, and buildings are getting used in a different way. It becomes more flexible. You do shared desks. You may have home office solutions in place. So how do you actually run your building? And this is where cleaning on demand comes, because either way, you spend a lot of money to keep the level high and cover any circumstances, or you obviously have to save on money cleaning costs, but then you have a lot of times where the demand for cleaning is not met. So where it's dirty and not clean because there's not a contract and not a task in place, or no cleaning personnel was informed. And this is where cleaning on demand helps. So you bridge the gap, or you bring together the gap between cost and quality. And this is the beautiful thing about cleaning on demand, that the complexity and the gap and the trade-off gets a solution. And this is not done by a human, but this is actually computer and algorithms that do it. Obviously, it can be read by a computer or it can be read by a human. This is in the end people working with it, but the complexity doesn't have to be done by a human, but by a computer or by algorithms. So, and in the end, it all boils down to cost. And this is an example that we calculated from the real world. So if we take the 2 minutes and see if it's, if you have your plan 5 times a week, so 5 cleanings or 5 emptyings, cleaning personnel and in the building every day, this can easily amount up to 1,000 euros. And this is for 100, based on 100 bins. So depending on how many bins you have in your building, this number easily adds up. And obviously, if you do only half the time or 3 times a week, you have less cost, but we can go a lot lower, because with our solutions that we do it on demand, we can stretch the time up to the maximum so that it only needs to be emptied maybe twice a week, maybe once a week. And also we can lower the amount of stations too, but we can only do that because we can monitor the bins and we can tell whether a bin is overflowing or not. Otherwise, you can lower them, of course, or you put less bins in, but then the danger and the problem of overflowing waste bins and unhygiene office environments is really there. And this is not a way that, especially under COVID and under those aspects, that can be feasibly and wanted. So yeah, there's a business case that we can provide where we can actually lower the cost on a monthly base, on a weekly base. And yeah, that's what I tried to bring across, that there is such a thing as smart waste in place, but waste is part of cleaning, part of facility management, and part of the whole building. And we do integrate in all those processes. And whatever supplier you like to use, we can integrate, and that is FDS. And so thanks for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Christoph. Are there any questions to Christoph? There's one. Can this be done with smart liquid? Any sort of water monitoring, information control, empty tank, pull shoot, whatever that means. Sorry, cleaning tank schedule, etc. So actually, it's about pollution. Yeah, it's about storing liquids in tanks, even polluted water or something like that.
Yeah. Well, so far we're focused on human trash, so that is generated in a building or in the building environments, on parking lots within the building or outside the building. So for now, not, but the infrastructure and FDS could be used on the same basis. So we don't have that in place now, and this is not our focus to monitor any liquids in containers, for example. But I mean, we'll be going down the roads, and we will offer more solutions or more products. But for now, we have the human waste inside the buildings, and that can be any type of building. But for loose waste, so like plastics, paper, organic waste, that is the focus at the moment.
So it's likely not a use case or a business case for Hailo, but probably for others. For example, container producers or tank producers. Okay, so what type of sensors are used to monitor the waste bin filling?
Yeah, so there's different types. Yeah, I mean, we do need to figure out how full it is. So we have some distance measuring sensors in place, but that wouldn't be enough, because waste can obviously, if you have a bin, let's say that much in circumference, and the level of, or you put a paper or some box in, and it might stay on the top, and it will go down after a while. So this in itself, just measuring the waste or the fillage level, is not enough. So if we have more sensor data in place that we correlate, and then it's the algorithm that actually predict the exact time when an emptying or when a bin is full. Well, Frank, yeah, you have one here. That's obviously a showcase.
I have one on my desktop, and I hope you can see that. This is the sensor unit with the LoRa interface integrated. We will see this in the presentation working, and so we can measure actually the filling level here. So this the sensor unit, of course, this is just a small trash bin. It looks nice because it's a Beckhoff red design.
Yeah.
It's a one which is just for showcase. It's a 3 liter, which will probably not be on the market. But this is how it looks like, and we will see later how it works. So yeah, thank you, Christoph. And this was a very interesting aspect. I've never thought about plastic bags and waste bins, so this was really interesting and important impact here and input. So thank you very much again. And
Thank
now
you.
it's my pleasure to announce and to welcome Jill Fry. Just need to share my screen. Caspar, you're a little bit later, next on the agenda. We welcome Jill. Jill, would you please unmute your microphone for this presentation?
Thank you so much, Frank. I am just in awe to hear all these presentations and to see everyone in the future of the smart building. It is genius, and it's just so exciting to be part of that. I am Jill Fry, founder and chairman of FDS. But of course, there is no FDS without our board and our founding members. And Daniel Messer is our president, and he's worked so diligently helping make everything work and to build the specifications with so many of you. So thank you so much for all that you're doing. It's so exciting. So the mission statement on the next slide. Thank you. This is the mission statement for FDS, and as you can tell, it's the single interface that we have with the technologies within the buildings. And it is the facility. It is the whole entire facility. And that encompasses so many aspects of a building, as you can tell. And so that is a really exciting part of it. It's not just the waste or not just the cleaning aspects of things, but it's the windows, it's, the HVAC. It leads to so many things that make a facility work. So as we can tell, there are so many pressures that will be coming from economic government and new legislation and new things we're going to have to think about. So the cleaning on demand is the future, and it's how we're going to be able to lower costs and provide better cleaning with this data-driven information. So I just would like to say in closing, I really do think FDS and BACnet are critical to bringing the industry together in creating standards, defragmenting building data, reducing the challenges of technology integration through a universal API. So what I'd like to say is our future is so bright, we have to wear shades. And I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. I can't wait to see the integration presentation that's next, and really taking the theory and putting it into application. So thank you, everybody. I am so grateful for you all, and especially this weekend. So thanks for making FDS so awesome, and seeing the vision and really leaning into the future and creating a new world. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jill. So the surprise or the good news about this is that we start on Monday next week for having the first meeting within the BACnet Interest Group Europe. We have a lot of interested parties, members of the BACnet Interest Group Europe, as well as others we have seen here today who are interested in seeing this collaboration growing. And so from the Beckhoff perspective, I can tell you I'm very proud to be the first external party or the one who implemented this API first. And I can tell you, and I can guarantee it works pretty well. It works really reliably. So this is something I can give you back as a feedback. And of course, as I said in our presentation on 4th of November, I think this was a starting point for a new era. And I remember the first time when I met the BACnet standard back in 1997. There was a book of 550 pages. And I never expected that this could become such huge and worldwide known standard. And I hope and I wish and probably confident that this will happen to FDS as well. And of course, we can do our best contribution to support this and bringing these two worlds together. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Frank.
Okay, so the next on the agenda, he already appeared, is do we have questions about FDS? No, not at this time. Maybe if you have other questions, don't hesitate to put them in the chat and we can later answer them. Next on our agenda is Kaspar Adank from the company Soobr from Switzerland. I hope I spelled it correctly. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. And he will introduce, I'm not talking Swiss German language. It's a little bit different in that. He will talk about app-based optimizations and facility services and cleaning services. Kaspar, your turn.
Thank you, Frank. You can see my screen?
Yes, it works.
Perfect. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Kaspar, one of the founders and the CEO of Soobr. Like Frank didn't spell that bad. He tried already in the morning, so we're getting better. Soobr means clean in Swiss dialect. So that's what our product is all about. It's about cleanliness as the result of cleaning, but in a new, innovative way. Soobr is a software for cleaning in the right place at the right time to reduce costs, improve quality, and increase transparency of the cleaning services. Our product offers an optimized, demand or usage-oriented planning and execution of cleaning tours based on real-time data and artificial intelligence. Or to say it in other words, we replace Excel files, countless Excel files with an intelligent web application, and we replace fixed paper-based cleaning schedules with dynamic cleaning tours on mobile devices, on tablets. With that, we automate the most time-consuming steps in the cleaning process. Let's have a look how this looks in detail. At the heart of our solution or of our product are methods from operations research. So what we do is we solve an optimization problem. But let's start on the top left. First, we're gonna collect data. We gather data about the cleaning services, so it's like the service level agreements, the contract specifications a cleaning provider has with his customers. And we're gonna gather room books, building plans, and with this data we have like a digital service level agreement, and we have standardized one first step in the cleaning process. So here, instead of hundreds of Excel files with different customers and different service level agreements, you have like standardized service level agreements in the web application. Next steps is the planning of the tour with artificial intelligence. What we mean with that is, I said it already, is like methods from the operations research, solving this optimization problem is called constraint programming. So what we do, we have built and trained an algorithm that always looks for the best feasible solution under certain constraints or rules. So in our case, these constraints or rules are, for example, the number of cleaning tours you have in a building, or if there are special tours, like, for example, vacuum with a machine, or the capacity of the tour of the cleaners, the room proximity, if there are a lot or less floor changes. So all these are these constraints, a rule, and under these constraints, the algorithm is looking for the best feasible solution, like I said, and that's tomorrow's cleaning plan shown on the tablet of the cleaners. For that's how it looked like. So here you're going to input these constraints, these rules, depending on the building and the situation on site. What you saw here is two little words, but with a very big meaning, talking about this room priority, because that's where FDS and all the colleagues come into play. Because the room priority, every room has a priority per se for itself. For example, is the office of a CEO is just more important than a corridor in the second basement. But however, this room priority, this increases with sensor data, with, for example, occupancy data. So if a room is more used, then the priority of this room will get higher and higher until the algorithm comes and plans this room for tomorrow's cleaning tour. Or, for example, the room priority, there can be data from Hailo taking these filling levels and saying, okay, now the sensor has a filling level of X%, so now it has to be taken into account and be planned for tomorrow's tour. And that's one of the secrets, because we're not going to showing this sensor data in just some lists, but we're going to plan it in a holistic planning over the whole building, optimizing the disposition of the cleaning tours with this different sensor data. So, like I said, the cleaning tours, they then showed to the cleaners on the tablet. That's exactly one example from the reality. So you see, it's always like always in the mother language. That's why it's German here. But that's a very important point. Always in the mother language for the cleaners. But more important is that you have to build a very easy, intuitive front end that this instrument, this working tool, is really used in the daily operations. And that's, I think, the second secret of the solution, besides the algorithm, how you bring such complex methods and technologies to the front workers that they're really going to use it. And that's how we have done it, and that's how this tool is used by more than 120 cleaners every day, starting their cleaning tours with such plans on the tablet, and it's accepted as their daily instrument for work, daily working tool. The cleaners then gonna click or confirm what they have done, as you can see, and they're gonna stop the tour after the work is done. So with that, with this confirmation and these tasks, you have like a quality control and documentation of the services that have been provided. This ends in more transparency. Again, going back to the web application, you have here a lot of analytics, data visualizations for frequencies, for tour activities, for tasks that are done, rooms that are done, at what time they are done, so on and on. So a lot of transparency for better decisions. And this better decisions, or the transparency, is one of the main benefits of the solution. It's like on the lower right, starting with transparency, this dashboards and data visualizations to optimize the cleaning performances, the cleaning services, but also to document for the customers with reporting, seeing the customers can see what the cleaner does every day. Talking about better quality, what we mean with better quality is, in the first, is this process standardization. You saw it already before in this standardizing the data, but it's not only about standardizing the data, but also how the tasks are done and what tasks are done. So it's really standardization of processes and tasks within the processes. And on the other hand, you have a big flexibility, and that's very important, especially in the actual situation with COVID. What we mean with flexibility is, Christoph already talked about it, that you have these variations in the tours, in the need for cleaning, because now going back to the office, then or home office again, going back to the offices. So what's really have like a system implemented to live the reality of these variations in the usage of a building, but also in a second part, that you have the possibility to bring changes in cleaning very fast to the front, to the operation. Let's give you an example. Is a meeting room that's today cleaned once a week. And now with COVID, going back to the office, and with COVID now, the meeting rooms has to be cleaned once, and not once a week, but once a day, so daily, or twice or three a week. However, you're gonna do this setting in the web application, and you will bring this change very fast the next day to the operation, and the cleaners, they will clean this according to the service level you have agreed. Or for example, a door handle that has to be cleaned from tomorrow, put it into setting, bring it very fast to the front. And you have like a dynamic quality control, because you have a dynamic cleaning plans and have dynamic cleaning schedules. It's possible to do like a dynamic quality control, not based on standardized and fixed quality frequencies, but really on the service that are provided, or that have been provided in the last days. So the rooms cleaned yesterday, they can be controlled tomorrow. And at the end, there are the cost savings. It's all about the money. At the end of the day, as we all know, it's the cost savings, meaning time savings in our case. There are time savings in 3 different places. One is in the whole calculation and implementation of a building, in the planning of the tours, where you gain efficiency with this automation and replacing the Excel files. Another is in the operation, at the management level in the operation. So you can, with these dashboards and with these deputy functionalities and the automation based on the algorithm, you can manage more buildings with same amount of persons. And there are some efficiency gains at the front, at the cleaners, because if you're going to clean like based on the variations on the effective need or usage, there will be some savings in this time. At the end, it's cost savings are nice, but it's about the whole business case and the return on invest. Other colleagues also spoke already about this ROI. We have shown it here. It's the time savings from different customers, different countries, different industries, with an average time savings of 15%. But now you have to bring this time savings to compare them to the costs for Soobr, and that's where you have the ROI then. In our case, it's very important to know that the ROI increases with the number of buildings, because you profit or you benefit from economies of scale. For example, you have this data that has to be entered into the system. So in the second or third building, you already have templates and a lot of data entered. So you will be faster in set up a building than you have been with the first building. So that's how you're going to profit, amongst others, from economies of scale. And it's clear the ROI varies according to different customers and buildings, but it's always below 1 year, as you can see. And I think that's one very important point to gain operational acceptance for such new digital tools, that you can show that you have a fast break even and are able to bring the ROI down. And I think that's one of the main reasons why our solution already today is anchored in the operational processes from our customers. Thank you.
Yeah, Caspar, thank you very much for this interesting outlook on how smart systems can help optimizing the schedule for cleaning. Are there questions? Oh, there's a long question. Let me quickly open the, give me just a second. I need to probably read it. Vini Green Energy, VAWT and hybrid solar systems, cleaning solar, total solutions all in one. Belgium, Luxembourg provides manufacturer smart grid independent power systems that provide energy, heat, climate. Is it just advertising, or what does this mean? I cannot really get the question here. Let me quickly read through it. It's very large.
I think the question is it only for the cleaning in the building, or can it also be used on the top of a building, on the roof, like the special cleaning for glass or like solar in this case?
Yeah. Exactly. I understand the question the same way. Maybe you can give an answer to this.
As in principle, yeah, yes, it's possible, but we don't have any case so far with cleaning solar panels on the roof. But if there's the data based on like saying, okay, now it's cleaned, it has produced that amount of energy, that's now, we know because of that it has now to be cleaned, then it can be taken to our system and shown on the tablet. The big question would be, how comes the cleaning wagon with the tablet on the top of the roof? But yeah, we should have to discuss this in detail, but principally, yes.
Might be another new business model for you, Kaspar.
Yes.
So combining the cleaning of solar systems and let's say calculate the benefit from it producing more energy compared to systems which are covered with dust or things like that.
Yeah, it goes into this predictive maintenance cases, yes.
Exactly, but generally speaking, I do see a lot of use cases like this for FDS in the next time. So probably also other providers jump into this onto this train and provide their systems, their services, their applications, as we saw it from you in the next time through FDS. The communication definitely can cover this.
I forgot to say that, but I mean that's clear that our interface, our API is we're working with FDS, so with all the colleagues, all of you, it's standardized API. Take all this data into the system.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Kaspar. Again, back to Switzerland, and thank you for this short Swiss-German language course.
Super.
So,
yes.
Soobr.
You're welcome,
Is it right, Soobr? Okay.
Super. Super.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. So yeah, thank you. And for the last session for today, I also jump into my presentation. Kannst du mich einmal zum Moderator? Okay. I need to ask my colleague here to make me moderator. It takes a few seconds. Sorry for that delay. So what you see next is a short presentation. And as I said to Jill, we probably in a few years will remember what we did on 4th of November in 2020. And I definitely will remember what we did, because for the first time, we integrated a lot of different devices from building automation and from the FDS side, from the facility side. And we created a very innovative showcase, which I like to introduce here. So we set up this showcase within a very, very short timeline, only 2.5 weeks was what we had actually available. And on 4th, and actually it was a 2-day event, so on 3rd and 4th of November in 2020, we were simply writing history, period. And this is really a starting point of a new area where we brought these two markets together, building automation on one side. That's what we know and where we came from, but now also entering and attracting the guys from the facility side. So I was the one who programmed it, and I was asked what is the API about, and the API is not yet released. It will be released sometime after the proof of concept, and I can say I'm a little bit proud that we were the first external party to prove this concept here and to check whether this API is working for us or not. I can tell you it works well, and it was really reliable. And of course, the first attempt to connect to the Hailo trash bin was a little bit, no, I wouldn't say difficult. It was just a new item, and we need to deal with certain things which were new to us. But then the second implementation of the Kärcher system, of the B40 floor cleaning system, was just an action for a few hours only. So once you implement this standard, it's easy to also implement other devices based upon the standard. Hailo Digital Hub invited us for a hybrid conference to an exclusive audience. It was actually a customer event, but it was always clear that after we showed it to customers, we also wanted to show it to the public, which we did today with this webinar. So this is where we were in the Hailo world. It's actually the Hailo Museum showing the history of Hailo as a company. And I have taken a few pictures to illustrate some impressions from this event. It takes a while to load because the pictures are very heavy. So you see everything was Corona conform. Everybody was wearing masks, and we were in a hall. This is part of the museum, which has a little bit an industry charm, but it was quite a good environment for us to do this showcase. And what you see in the middle is the actual showcase. I will also introduce a little bit later. We will see it here within the next few minutes. What we also did, we mounted 2 ladders, actually it was 4, 2 as a pair, and mounted LED lightings, 3 panels to the ceiling, and a true presence sensor from Steinel to detect the room air quality. This was a special installation. And last but not least, we would like to show you that this not only works on PowerPoint. We have done this 3rd and 4th of November as a live presentation. And part of this live presentation are on my desktop here. Not every system. We don't have a cleaning machine from Kärcher here, but I would like to show you the basics of this communication and how it works in the Beckhoff world. So for this, I now switch to my browser. Hopefully it's a little bit slow at this moment. Sorry about that. The reason is the presentation is very heavy. So coming back to our presentation here live, I have a C6015, the one we took for this presentation and the showcase here on my desktop. It's connected with a few terminals. And this was, of course, sorry about the language. We didn't translate it. It's a German, was a German presentation here. So this means welcome. And as I said earlier, we implemented a lot of technologies into this showcase. So this is just a few items we connected together. The basic idea was to have a meeting room and a meeting situation. So first of all, we invited to this meeting using a calendar, which is brought up by Outlook 365. This is a cloud version of Outlook, as you may know it from your desktop PC or from your laptop. So what I prepared here is a meeting invitation. And this takes a few moments to load. So this also in German language. So we have a meeting for the marketing department, even though this is really international, but the meeting room is now Besprechungsraum A, which means meeting room A. And I scheduled this meeting, which is a little bit slow. I'm sorry about that. Okay. And we save this meeting. It's probably not the right time. Okay, but this doesn't matter for the showcase. So now the situation is the group wants to enter the meeting room, but is it really cleaned? Was it disinfected? We remember the COVID situation at the moment. So in which shape is the meeting room? Can we use this meeting room for welcoming our customers? And in this case, the system is telling us, okay, the meeting room was not cleaned before, so you will likely not use this meeting room for welcoming your customers. So the next thing is, okay, we need to change the meeting room here. And let me quickly add another meeting room in here. This takes a few moments. I'm sorry about that. It's a little bit delay in the internet connection here. So we take room number B. Okay, Okay, so there's a G missing. Okay, good. So this information is now also stored in Outlook 365. And actually, it was a little bit tricky to bring this information from the Outlook system into TwinCAT. We found a path which is probably not like a product, and we won't sell it as a, let's say, application or as a part of TwinCAT. But if you're interested in knowing how to access the data here from an Outlook calendar, or even use Outlook online here for writing emails and sending them from the cloud, I can give you some advice. So drop me an email if you're interested in that. It was a little bit tricky to find out how the authentication works and what parameters you need to set up. But finally, we got it up and running on the C65, 6015, I'm sorry. And so this could be used for projects maybe as an application example. So back to our meeting. So the meeting room is now properly cleaned. Meeting room B, of course, it's the same picture. We set up this meeting room. That's actually really the meeting room at Hailo Museum. So they have a small meeting room inside this facility. And so the green item shows us, okay, we can now start this meeting. And we now do it manually. Of course, in a later stage, this could also be automated. And as you can see, the room is filling up now. And this information, how many people are present in which location of this room, is brought to us by the Steinel HPD2, the presence detector. And actually, we set up this so-called detection zones beforehand. This picture will not be transported through the HPD. It shut down every picture after 15 minutes after first power up. So we took this picture as a screenshot and used it for this part of the presentation. So you see 3 people occupied the room, one in this area, one here, and another one here. And now the meeting is terminated, it's finished. The room is to be cleaned now. And we go to this item. We see the trash bin is at 21%. So it was just a short meeting with only a few people. So the trash bin probably needs not to be cleaned here. But if we start the cleaning process, the system may automatically tell you which areas have been occupied and which have to be, maybe due to COVID, needs a specific disinfection. And so this system may help the cleaning personnel to identify the areas which need a specific treatment. Okay, so this was actually the showcase in regards to the meeting room. But of course, while the meeting takes place, you find probably other items. You want to open the door, and you see the Geze system for opening the doors, or for controlling the door's state. Also, in case of no occupancy, if somebody opens the doors and he is not authorized, he probably, or the system will probably generate an alarm. We have the blind system here from Varema. We can, of course, drive the blind up and down and stop it. So once you enter the meeting room, you are, let's say, the owner of this meeting room, and you are able and are allowed to control the elements within the room. That also applies to building automation. So this is a schema of how a meeting room could look like. We have the thermocon room controller device, which, in addition to the Steinel sensor, also provides some similar information or even identical information like CO2, like VOC, and room temperature, room humidity, things like that. We have the Danfoss system where we can command the heating and cooling ceiling. We can switch between heating and cooling. Normally, this would be part of the automation program running in our Beckhoff PLC. But of course, in some cases, you may want to do it manually. And we have the natural ventilation, as we learned from Geze. And of course, combined with the blinds from Varema, every system on its own is, let's say, less intelligent than the combination of every system connected here. And that was the main goal. Not to forget the lighting. So we have, sorry, that's again stuck a little bit. Let's put it again. Oh, sorry, my fault. Need to go to lighting. So we probably use this dimmer system. We put it on a touch panel, CP2712, and so every operation which is shown now here in the browser can of course be also operated from the touch panel. So we have a few items here in regards to air quality. So these values are taken from the Steinel sensor. This is how it looks like. You've seen that before. And last but not least, or not last, but one of the last items is the FDS integration. From Kärcher in this presentation or in this showcase, I learned that the cleaning machines, the floor cleaners, are not located where you expect them to be. That's one of the major things I learned. And so the good point is that you can identify where this machine is located by the GPS coordinates it provides. So you see the latitude and longitude here as values. And we used OpenStreetMaps to give this coordinates, the GPS coordinates, to the StreetMap server, and we retrieved the map here back. So you see this Hailo world. This is the map, or the part of the map OpenStreetMap provides back to us as an additional information. And yeah, of course, we also provided outside information like weather information from OpenWeatherMap to Kärcher, so that they can schedule their cleaning services also for, let's say, they will not start when it's raining outside, but they will start it if it's dry air or even sunshine. Yeah, and as we have seen before, we have the smart waste bin. This one is a box which is located in Geze. So I retrieved this data from the Hailo cloud, from the Hailo web server through Amazon Web Services, and through the use of the FDS protocol. And once you have connection to one, it's easy to copy it to the second one. That's the one on my desktop. I bring it back to the camera here, you see that. And of course, since we don't want to deal with real waste, I use paper to fill it up. And we do this now. And so we fill it up a little bit. So I put it back, and of course it takes a few moments to, oh, it's very fast here. Sometimes it takes a few moments more running through the LoRa network and let's say provided through the cloud system. This was very fast. We sometimes identified 10 to 15 seconds delay, but this is now showing the exact filling level here, and also here the coloring schema. And actually implementing this SVG graphics was quite easy. We took this example from the dashboard Hailo provides for their customers, but the major idea was in this showcase to integrate everything into just one dashboard, not having a dashboard for this, a dashboard for that, and another dashboard implementing everything, and then the next dashboard. We really wanted to integrate everything here. And so Beckhoff is the backbone of the system. And it deals a little bit like a broker with the data and with this information. And coming to a conclusion for today, data is actually the oil of the 21st century. So it's not about just collecting the data. As Christoph said, it doesn't make any sense and it doesn't provide any benefit if you simply collect the data and do nothing with that. Here, we really showed that we can combine the data, we can implement different facilities into one system, and to generate a value add in regards to energy savings, cost savings, and of course, sustainability in regard to environmental protection. This was the practice showcase I wanted to show. So are there any questions? I still see a lot of you still being awake, hopefully, and I'd like to thank you. There's a comment, great webinar, thank you very much. The question we asked were only to integrate our system via Danfoss. Okay. If you're interested in connecting to the Danfoss devices, this went through BACnet MSTP. That's the connectivity for the Danfoss Novocon devices. And we currently have a first prototype where we want to show exactly what we've seen here in a real building. This will be, it's currently in the planning phase, sorry. And we also want to integrate the Danfoss devices for heating and cooling ceiling systems. So this is a typical office installation, and we use this for heating and cooling in the summertime, of course, but also this data is combined to information from the windows and from other factors. We put everything together. Is there any other question? This is not the case, so we are right on time. Thank you very much for attending our webinar here. I hope this raised a lot of interesting aspects for the future of building automation and facility information. And I hope this gives you a lot of input in how buildings can look like actually as of today. So we can do it next week if you want. And if you need more information, just drop us an email. I'd like to thank you again, and maybe all of the moderators and speakers may again switch on their camera so that we can see everybody. And I wish you a pleasant weekend. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully we will meet someday back again face to face on a trade show. I'm not really believing that this will happen in 2021. We would see, but stay safe